What's going on, everyone? So Los Angeles Lakers and their bench is a real concern, right? We've seen throughout this preseason thus far that most of the offense is coming from the starters, and then the bench guys are having to kind of play this particular role. And you look across the bench, it's like, who are the guys that are providing some form of offense for us? It's one of the reasons why I've talked about moving Austin Reaves or Rui Hachimura to the bench, right? When Jared Vanderbilt gets healthy, at some point, I think you move him to the starting unit, bring Rui off the bench, and then he can kind of be more of a focal point on the offensive side of the ball, right? But you look at it, and it's like, okay, Gabe Vincent, like, how many points is he giving you a game? Maybe 10, okay. Max Christie, how many points is he giving you a game? Maybe 10, 12, right? Dalton Connect, how many points is he giving you a game? Maybe 10, 12. Best case, 15. That would be great. That would be nice. But the problem is like you just go across the board, and the Lakers there is this clear bench concern. All of our main scoring pieces are all in the starting unit. And you look at some of these teams throughout the NBA, like the Celtics or even Denver when they won their championship. Some of these teams aren't very deep. They were only running, 6, 7 guys anyway, where the Lakers want to run and get to like 9, maybe 10. JJ Redick has said that he's open and willing to kind of discuss and, kind of play it by ear, right? He has a plan in mind, but he's not so ignorant that he's just going to say, oh, no, we got to stick to the plan. If something, it makes sense and it's better, he's going to be open to making that move. But there is still this real concern with the bench. Now, your two main guys off the bench right now are Dalton Connect and Max Christie. But you've seen, as great as they have looked at times, also have their struggles, which is understandable, right? It's not necessarily a criticism because Dalton Connect, it's his first year in the league. He's a rookie. And Max Christie, this is his real first opportunity. Yes, he's been in the league a couple years, but he's playing sparing minutes in spots and only getting 3 attempts per game, right? So these are two guys that are essentially, this is their first real year in an actual NBA rotation, playing actual NBA minutes, and you've seen them play big roles in preseason. But a couple things about the Lakers bench concerns. Not saying that it's not a concern, but one, both of these guys in Dalton Connect and Max Christie in particular are not going to be playing the role that they're playing right now in preseason. They're not going to be asked to take 15 attempts per game. They're not going to be asked to create possession after possession after possession for themselves, right? And you're never going to see, outside of like maybe garbage time, a unit where it doesn't have a starter 2 or 3 out there, right? Like Max Christie and Dalton Connect aren't going to be playing alongside like Jalen Hood-Schifino, Bronny James, Jackson Hayes and Maxwell Lewis or something, right? Like, no, they're going to be playing alongside LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reaves. Like, they're going to be playing alongside guys that are going to create and open things up for them. Yeah, sure, on occasion, Connect and Max Christie are going to have to put the ball on the deck and make a play. On occasion, they're going to have to make plays for others. You're going to have to play within the offensive schemes, but they're not going to be relied on to be hey, we need you to be our third best scorer tonight. We need you to, be the best offensive player on the team tonight. Like, that's not something that the Lakers are going to be looking for those two to do, right? They're going to be more catch and shoot, kind of movement shooters, right? And hopefully playing a high level of defense. More so Max Christie, Dalton Connect, right? He wasn't really known as this defense stopper, but can he be at least serviceable, right? That's a big thing as well. So, one, you're not going to have an all-bench unit, right? Yes, JJ Redick wants to run 4, maybe 5 guys off the bench, but it's going to be sprinkled in, right? It's going to be a mixture of starters and bench guys. But you still need production from the bench players, right? Like, if all of our offense is coming from the starters and our bench is only giving us, 6 bench points a game, right? Well, then, yeah, it's still, your bench is still an issue, right? That's why I'm not saying that, like, hey, the bench isn't a concern, but it will be easier for these guys. Max Christie and Dalton Connect, they're not going to be asked to have to handle as much of a workload game in and game out as they have in summer league and preseason and stuff like that, right? There may be a game, Dalton Connect's just cooking, and he's 11 for 12 from the floor, 7 of 8 from 3, and it's like, feed the hot hand. Let this man work. Let this man cook. Same thing with Max Christie. It could be a game where he's 7-8 from 3, and it's like, let's keep generating and try to feed the hot hand. Right, but that's going to be more of an outlier than it will be a normal game in and game out, night in and night out possession. Right? These guys are only going to be looked to, hey, can you give us 20 a night collectively? Maybe 25. Can there be a night where, Christie gives us 10 and Connect gives us 15, or vice versa? Christie's giving us 15, Connect's giving us 10. Right? Can you collectively, between the two of you, average 20 to 25 a night off the bench? That would be great. Not looking for them to combine, average 40 off the bench, because one, again, they're bench players. Two, they're young and inexperienced and having to work well, but you need to at some point give them the opportunity. So I do think that they will be real key pieces into the rotation that aren't asked to do as much and aren't going to be by themselves out there, running solo, right? They're going to have guys like LeBron who's going to be creating for them. You're going to have guys like D'Angelo Russell that's going to be creating for them. They're going to be within the flow and the scheme of the offense rather than, hey, you know what, you're going to be the offense right now, right? That's just the difference between what we're seeing in Summer League and what we're actually going to see in the actual NBA season. Another big thing going to be when Jared Vanderbilt as well as Christian Wood get back, right? When these two come back, it'll help tremendously, right? Starting with Jared Vanderbilt, because he's kind of the easier one, right? Like, one, you can start him and then bring, a guy like Rui off the bench, and now you have Rui who can be more of a focal point offensively, and he can go get you 15 to 20 a night, right? And maybe he's like your kind of sixth man. Or even if Vando does stay off the bench, yes, he's not looked at as an offensive weapon in the traditional sense. He's not a guy that's just going to go out there and be cooking on the offensive side and just, step back threes and all that stuff. But he does help and impact the offensive side of things, right? Because him getting offensive rebounds, him getting defensive rebounds, give the Lakers more offensive possessions. Him getting live ball turnovers, just turnovers in general, lead to more offensive possessions. Him as an off-ball cutter in this type of system where it's, constant movement, Jared Vanderbilt's size, length, and foot speed is going to be able to take advantage. And, even Darvin Ham was able to make him a double-digit scorer a night. I can see J.J. Redick easily being able to make Jared Vanderbilt a 8 to 12 point a game scorer, right? So you kind of piece it together. It's like, okay, well, Jared Vanderbilt gives you, say, 10. Connect gives you 10. Christie gives you, say, 8. Dave Vincent gives you, say, 6. And you start putting it together, and it's like, okay, well, now there's 34 points off the bench. And then insert a guy like Christian Wood, who I think he's the guy that has the potential to have the largest impact, particularly as, like he's the guy that has the best chance to be our sixth man. Because we've seen him, and his history and track record shows that he can. That he can be a 17-7 to as high as a 20-plus point a game night guy in the right role, if utilized properly, and off the bench. Right? He did it in several stints. So you've also heard that the Lakers have talked about, and Christian Wood relayed even in an interview, that, hey, JJ Redick wants me to get back to that Houston, that Dallas Christian Wood. Right? Focus on the offense side, beating guys off the dribble, taking the big fellas that can't guard you, beating them to the basket, or, cooking them, putting them in a blender, right? Take the smaller guys, maximize and capitalize on the mismatch, be that offensive weapon. We want you to go give us 17 a night, right? He's the guy that I could see really kind of bolster the bench, where he can kind of be more of a focal point off the bench. And he's the closest thing we have to Anthony Davis. Right? Obviously, he's not Anthony Davis, size-wise, defensive-wise, even just high-octane offensive-wise. But what I mean is he's the closest we have to when Anthony Davis goes to the bench, you can insert Christian Wood, still run all of your offense sets. Right? Christian Wood can operate around the rim, He can beat bigger guys off the dribble. He can, post up and dominate smaller guys. He's a guy that can step out and knock down the three ball. Even better efficiency-wise, like shooting percentage-wise than even Anthony Davis. He can knock down the mid-range, so you can run pick and pops. He can come up and down. He can do all kinds of things that you can do with Anthony Davis that now you can do with Christian Wood. And defensively, he can still defend out on the perimeter. He's a guy that, not really the rim protector that Anthony Davis is, but he is good at being the help man, and he is good at kind of cleaning up, right? So, for example, if you have, say, Gabe Vincent, and if he funnels the offensive player into Christian Wood, then Christian Wood can clean it up. If he gets beat, and now Christian Wood is on an island, then Christian Wood is getting beat more times than not. So that's what in that regard, that's what it means. But nonetheless, right, of course, your starters are going to make up 80%, if not, at best case, 70% of your total scoring. Right? Like, you're going to be looking from your starting unit, you're going to be looking for 80 points a game minimum from the starters, if not more. Anthony Davis and LeBron James combined are going to give you, 50 to 55 a night. If D'Lo, Reaves, and Rui go give you, say, they're 45 to 50 a night. There you go. There's your 100 plus. You're just looking for 15 to 20 points a night from the bench unit. All right. Now, the concern is that you have just so much applied offensive pressure on the starting unit. Right? So you don't have the balance necessary. Right? All of your defensive pieces are on the bench. Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt whenever he gets back, right? Like, most of your, outside of Anthony Davis, they're all on the bench. So throughout the course of the games in the season, but throughout the course of the games, can you find that proper balance? Can you have, the starters are one thing, but what are the ins and outs? What does the closing unit look like, right? Does that vary? Does that change? Or is it the starters again? Are they able to get stops, right? Like, there's a lot that kind of goes into it that we'll see as the season progresses. But I definitely think it's a concern. Without a doubt, I definitely think it's a concern. However, I don't think it's as concerning as some people make it out to be. I think that the bench will be okay. Are they going to be the top bench in the league? No. Or I shouldn't say no because we don't know, but probably not. Like, I think it would be a safe bet to say no, right? But could they be good enough to where we're a very good basketball team? Sure. Right? Like, this team could provide kind of some of that versatility that we need off the bench. And like I said, it's going to be balanced, right? There's going to be a balance. It's not going to be just like, oh, well, okay, we're doing hockey changes, right? Hockey shifts where, no, 5 guys are going in, 5 guys are going out. No, it's going to be sprinkled in throughout. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you have concerns about the bench unit? Do you think, the bench will be fine? Not going to be great, not going to be elite, not going to be one of the top benches. But like I said, look at most of the top contenders. Outside of, OKC, right? Like, New York isn't super deep. The Celtics aren't super deep. You look at Denver, they're not super deep. You just go down the list. They're not super deep, right? Minnesota, they're probably one of the deeper teams. But nonetheless, I'm not really worried that much about it, but we'll see, right? Maybe it does become more of a concern as the season progresses. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.